You doing coke over there? What's going on?
No, I was smelling. I poured Hams into this coffee mug, and it's just like this blast of just like.
I just came over and you're like.
Did you see this? I love this mug because it's
beautiful, Alex. I love it too.
I know this is my whole shtick because I have nothing else going on in my life. But
you have nothing going on in your life. You have more going on in your life than I do.
Gentlemen, I regret to inform you that nothing going on in my life.
I regret to inform you, middle age.
Middle age. Oh, shit. Yeah, I was looking at some retirement stuff today. I'm just like, I don't think I'm ever going to retire. Even with a pension with the state. I was just like...
Pension's a good...
Like, 67 to get like 80% of your max benefits. Like, holy Lord almighty.
Let's see. My mom is younger than that. She just... I didn't realize... So people... Do you want to start this show?
Yeah, we're starting the show. Hey, kids. Welcome to CultureDoom. This is episode 418. This is Alex.
Papa Alex.
Papa Alex.
With a, 4-second delay. Isn't she? She's too
like,
old to be awake. Tell her to go to bed. It's over.
I know. I'd go in there, but my belt's in the closet already. So it's like I have to go in, go past the TV, get in the closet, get my belt, and by that time I'm already tired. And I'm just like,
So I didn't realize something about people always complain about. Did you hear that? Okay.
Yeah, it's like inside your building.
It's
the fire truck inside your building.
On its way, apparently. I didn't realize that people can everyone complains about pensions. Mm-hmm. You contribute to your pension. Yeah. It's your money. So, what's the complaint exactly? People are always like, people shouldn't be able to get pensions, and that money should be going to the community. And it's like, okay, well, kind of off. It's that
Social Security. Social Security is just federal pension.
Yeah, sure, but it's like a 401k. It's not like you're just getting free money. Yeah. It's your money that you're contributing and then getting back.
Yeah, it basically goes into a giant pot that then the state has to kind of manage and keep in there and grow. There's some
state's problem.
Scheming, yeah. Well, it's kind of like auto insurance, where it's like you pay for how many years worth of auto insurance premiums, and then you finally get in an accident and you need them to pay out the stuff, and they say, "Oh, we're only going to pay you this much because car depreciation and all that stuff." And it's like, if I didn't have a car insurance and I saved that money in my own pocket, I could probably have more money to be able to afford this stuff. But the pension thing, it's because they have to manage it, and they also have to invest it and have a certain percentage of return upon it. And the thing with it is also that it's really meant to pay for people's pensions up to a certain point, and then they hope that the person actually kicks the bucket because they don't want to necessarily keep paying these premiums to people in their late 80s, 90s, early hundreds. So
anyway, speaking of being elderly and retiring, Alex, it's been a while since we actually sat down to record an episode together. We did.
Yes.
For the audience, we were super professional, and it was a seamless transition between really being unavailable to do stuff together, and then now we're back.
Through the magic of the internet.
Through the magic of the internet and editing, video editing. We 417 and 417 and a half came out seamlessly, and I think we did a good job with that. However, I was in Vegas for work.
Again.
First time since COVID that I was there. First time I've had to travel. Don't say that. You can't
Sorry.
give. You can't,
Sorry.
you can't tell them.
Not for Woolworths.
You can't give them the clients. Although I'm sure I've mentioned it before.
Did you go to that Borders Books and Music and More convention like you do every single year?
But so the first time since COVID that I've gone on location for anything. Vegas really kind of sucks. It sucks in multiple ways, and I was keenly aware of it this time. And maybe it's because I'm middle age now, and it's different than when you're 21.
Yeah, I mean, you didn't really go to Vegas in your 20s.
I think when I was the first time I went to Vegas, I had a flip phone. So I must have been
Was George W. Bush still president?
No. I wonder if I could look up when I went. I'm not going to bother doing it now.
Well,
but
also,
the point is, I was young. I was in my 20s.
Yes.
I was not 30. I went there and I won a bunch of money, and I was like, "This is great." Because I remember sitting at the dollar slots, and then the girls were coming over with asking if I wanted a drink, and I'm like, "Get me a gin and tonic," and I was giving her like $5 because we still had coins to play the slots with, and I was like, "Get yourself something nice, honey tits," and like slapped her ass, and she's like, "Oh, you ha ha ha," and then she walked away.
And we're demonetized.
In reality, it was me being like, "Could I have a gin and tonic, please?" And then she's like, "Okay, calm down."
How pretty lady. That's a nice tattoo. What is that up? Oh, there's my baby boy's feet. Oh, okay. Can I have my gin and tonic now?
But so that was fun. And then every time since then, I've lost money. Leading up to this last time.
You've gotten older.
Well, and then I didn't gamble at all this time. I didn't do blackjack, didn't do slots, didn't do anything. I just kind of I bought $20 drinks to expense to work because this is how you know that Vegas is. How much are you willing to spend for a neat pour of Jack Daniels?
Jack Daniels. No more than $10.
$20. $16.
Is it just regular Jack Daniels?
Yeah, regular Jack Daniels.
It's not like a special 20-year-old. No, okay.
Not the special label or anything. $16 plus a $3 add-on for being neat. Which means it's because they give you 1.5 ounces or 2 ounces instead of 1 ounce is what that add-on is, because you don't have a mixer with it. But my point is that no matter what the scenario is, $20 for a pour of Jack Daniels is insane.
Even by Chicago standards.
Well, yeah. I mean, Chicago, that would be $9, I think, at the most, if not like $6.
That's why I went with like the 10.
Even downtown, it wouldn't be that bad. So, yeah, no, Vegas is, and then like walking through, I was at a hotel where it was through work where the rooms were like $500 a night. So I was sitting in this hotel room, and I could see the Walgreens across the street, and I was like, I gotta go find something to eat. So I walked down, and have you ever been to Vegas?
I've never been, and I'm basically
Alex,
knowing all
this. Alex, I don't know if this is going to work tonight. You're frozen. You've been frozen a lot.
Oh.
There's nothing you can really do. But
we'll just go with it.
All right, we'll just go with it. I'll put up the technical difficulties thing over you every time you freeze.
Technical dildo.
Dildo. So sorry, have you ever been to Vegas?
I've never. Even when I was younger, I never really had a desire for Vegas.
Right.
Whenever I would think of Vegas, I would want to go to the Vegas that existed during like the Frank Sinatra Rat Pack era, or
the original
during like Casino.
Yeah, like
when the mob still ran it.
It's downtown Vegas, like true Las Vegas, not what is it? Pleasantville? What's the name?
Pleasantville.
What's the name of where's Las Vegas located?
Nevada.
No.
Fremont Street. Fremont Street is like classic old school.
Yeah, which is actual downtown Las Vegas.
Like Golden Nugget and the one with like the neon cowboy going like this and stuff. I think it's called Fremont Street.
No, I mean the Las Vegas Strip is located in. It's not Las Vegas.
It's like a neighbor, like a suburb or something.
Paradise,
Nevada.
Paradise, Nevada. Las Vegas Strip is not located in Las Vegas. Paradise, unincorporated towns of Paradise and Winchester. simply referred to as Las Vegas. Yeah.
You know what? I would maybe go to like Reno.
Yeah, Reno is interesting. Reno is kind of what the movie Heart 8 takes place in Reno. Mm-hmm. But anyway, so walking to Walgreens to get dinner turns into this, like, there's no direct route across the street. You have to go through multiple hotels and casinos, and then over a sky bridge and walkway and down, and it's like a 20-minute walk that should have been...
Sounds like Anime Central.
Similar.
Yeah.
But so all of this to say that, like, I'm sitting in my $500 a night hotel room eating a Walgreens sandwich and a box of Pringles and a Diet Coke. I'll put the picture up right now. There it is. And yeah,
and it's just as glorious as you described it to be.
So overall, no, Vegas is not one of my favorite places. Now it's mostly associated with work in my head, and not a fun time.
No.
Also, there's like a lot of... everyone would say this. It's very fake. Like, there are people walking around pretending that they're millionaires, and I'm looking at their bag being like, it's not a real Prada bag.
It says JanSport on it.
No, but you can, like, it's just, if you know, you know. And there are multiple times I'm looking at that, like, someone's Louis Vuitton, thinking, it's not even a good fake. Like, I know what this looks like. It's some chick
who's got an Instagram account, and she's trying to get clout. Yeah.
So I see a lot of that. I see a lot of the fake people trying to pretend like they're millionaires and, like, you know, spending, maxing out their credit cards, trying to make it at the craps table or whatever. And the other thing is, the other irritating thing about Vegas to me is that whenever you start talking to somebody about Vegas, they want to tell you how much money they've lost in Vegas. It turns into,
because they always lose money.
It's like the inversion of a dick measuring contest. It's like I lost $2,000 one weekend in Vegas, and like, oh, isn't that funny? And it's like, it's not funny.
That's sad.
Yeah,
it's pathetic.
I usually lose my per diems, except that this time I spent so much money on Ubers and taxis that I didn't. My per diem went to that. You know what I mean? So it was like, I didn't even have any like fake money.
What kind of Ubers do they have out there? Is it all Priuses, or is it something better?
Well, we were in
Vegas, or
we were in a group of 5, so we were in like Escalades and stuff. It was. They were, because if you put 5 into you're guaranteed to get something that'll fit 5 people if you do Uber XL or something, or whatever the fancy Uber is. If you put in 5, you might get somebody in their SUV and it's really can only seat 4, but they act like they can take 5 people. So that's why it was pricier.
I've seen that video once before on that website.
Okay. But the other thing about Vegas that it's been so long for me traveling that I had to be conscious about how much energy I had left on my phone. Because I had certain points, there was a lot of downtime, because my position, I'm not usually building sets, which was part of, I happened to be there for it, but I was just kind of waiting for the people to, because I don't even know how to do any of it. So I'm just like, if you want me to carry something, let me know. Otherwise, I'll just be sitting here. So I was on my phone, and then I usually had been able to charge my phone all the time, working normally. And suddenly it was like, oh, I'm at 40%. My phone, I don't really see my phone go to 40%.
Yeah. It's a very scary thing, because I know in the, I don't know how old your phone is, but mine is, I currently have, an iPhone XR, and it's probably at least like 4 years old, maybe 5, whatever number they're up to now. I think iPhone 14s or whatever. So it's pretty old, by modern standards. But I can definitely tell, like, after being on Twitter or maybe YouTube for a little while, it definitely begins to kind of cut down on the amount of battery. And I know that the more and more, because it's rechargeable battery, and all rechargeable batteries after a certain point they start losing their capacity. Yeah. And I get very panicky when I start getting down to like 60%. But then I'm like, okay, I need to charge this someplace. I need to find something like that. And then when it's like down to 30%, I'm like,
so 60.
And then I have to be like, I can only read text.
So 60% is where you start to get worried. I mean, that's 60%. I think you're in pretty good shape overall, and you can make it to home.
I can't. I'm sort of the same with like the gas in my car, where it's like when I get to like when I'm at that, like when I see like 50 miles until empty, I'm just like,
it's because you're,
and it's the morning. Do I want to?
You're a very responsible person, and so I feel like that's why you can start to get anxiety over 60%. But then.
Yeah, but I get very, very cautious about this thing, because I'm just like, because basically these things are like, these aren't unfortunately like the Nokias of back in the day, and they just take so much more battery life, and unfortunately, it's just they don't really seem to have the same capacity like they do.
You need to. Still fireworks out there. You
got a squirrel coming through your window?
You need to invest in one of these little baby battery things. A little battery pack.
Oh, okay.
And
they have those at Disney World. Like, I know everything comes back different, but they have a cylinder. Okay, sorry. I'm sorry.
Sorry. They have battery packs at more places than Disney World.
I know, but that's the place I always associate them with.
It's because everybody's taking pictures and videos with their phone, and so they want the people. They're like, "Oh no, where am I going to plug in my phone?" Have you considered buying a Disney branded battery pack? This one's older, 5-volt out, so I don't even know if that's good enough to really charge much. Well, yeah, I actually don't know. Anyway, but for my old phones, it was fine. But I still have a Pixel 4a. Which I think is 3 years old now. So, but my phone still does a pretty good job. And like I said, I always plug my phone in every time I'm in my car. So it's all like driving to and from work, it gets charged. So, but yeah, I don't know. Have you ever actually had your phone die because of usage?
One time.
Only once.
One time.
Alex.
I adorable. It was one time. And then I basically was just like, well, I'll wait until I get home to recharge it and go to bed. Thankfully, we weren't.
Were you
doing
driving
anything.
home when it died?
Erica was driving. Yeah, and I think I found, I was like, oh, this is what it's like for a phone to like experience death. And then I just recharged it, and it was like fine in the morning. But it did that. I don't know if your phone does it, but Apple has this like special charging that's like super duper high quality charging, where it's like you let it just go for like 8 hours to charge or something like that. And I don't know,
Alex.
It's like, it's called premium
8
charging.
8 hours is not a good. That's not fast.
No, but it's like there's some term for it. I don't know. I see it on my screen, but it's like whenever I'm sleeping, I just have.
So that it doesn't wear down your battery. Oh yeah. No, it's like it's more gradual current instead of like the quick charge. Yeah, my phone does that too.
Yeah.
I thought you meant like it's fancy. My phone gets charged in 8 hours, just to let you know. I was like, buddy,
it runs for a week.
It's like, buddy, that's not fast. I charge my phone every night overnight, but yeah. So Vegas is the last time that this past trip was the last time I actually was worried about my phone charging. But also, speaking of Vegas, we at the Oakland the A's, the Athletics baseball team, is moving to Las Vegas. I actually was in a cab listening to the cab driver complain up a storm about how they are putting that traffic is already in this city, this on the Strip, and they're putting this baseball stadium right there, and it's gonna just like screw everything up even more. I don't care because I deal with Wrigley all summer long.
I don't care about the A's.
Yeah, and I don't care about the A's.
Yeah.
But like,
and we have a better team anyways.
At the moment we do.
This year.
But yeah, so like new teams moving, new teams being created. What's going on with MLB?
Yeah, so every year, during the winter meetings, there was toss around some ideas, and this season's been kind of an interesting season so far on the field, but we've already hit that All-Star break, and even before that, like in June sometime, they were talking about, hey, what if we, since we got a team moving from one city to another, what if we possibly just go and expand the league by 2 more teams? And I think there was something where, apart from, was it the NFL or somebody? Other than maybe the NFL, I think MLB was the only other league of the 4 leagues, which really honestly means nothing. It's like they make it like there's a dozen leagues, but there was like the only other league that hasn't had an expansion team for so long. And quite frankly, I don't even think that, you need to compete against other sports leagues in America with expanding the size of your, organization. But they were tossing out the idea of possibly making 32 teams in MLB, which actually has 30 right now. And with that type of idea, there would more likely come some sort of realignment of the individual divisions. It's a lot easier to do that now, in my opinion, because where there used to be an actual distinct difference between the American League and the National League based upon the designated hitter rule. Now that you have 2 leagues that have no distinct difference other than these are the teams in the National League and these are the ones in the American League, you could technically just kind of make it where you can still have 2 different leagues. You could do an East or West, kind of like how the NHL and the NBA have it, and then have like 2 divisions for each, or maybe 3. And then you can, if you wanted to, you could have it like the NFL where you have the NFC and the AFC and you have a North, South, East, West. And I think the North, South, East, West, like similar to the NFL, would work better for MLB, in which you would end up having, I believe it would be like 4 divisions of 4 teams each. And then there would be like the playoff system would be something to compensate for that. Like maybe having like, you might still be able to have like 2 wild card teams come in, play against like the 3 and the 4 spot, and then the 1 and 2s would end up playing the winners of those previous ones if you want to do that. And really this would just be kind of like a holdover from how it used to be with the differences between the AL and the NL, just like how the NFL now has the AFC, which was kind of a holdover of all the teams that came over from the American Football League, but there's really no distinct difference, quite frankly, at this point. And then, of course, if they decide to go ahead and approve the expansion, what cities are going to get the expansion teams? And, Vegas is getting a team now because they already have an NHL hockey team, because that's what you associate, winter sports with, is sweltering heat in the middle of the, Mojave. Or they want to put a team back in Montreal, which
what was the original?
Which is weird
team?
because
what was the Montreal team?
The Expos, which then moved to Washington.
The Expos.
And I've never really thought of Montreal as being a baseball team. Canada is more of a hockey team. They don't have an NFL team. They only have the Raptors for the NBA. They've got the Blue Jays for MLB. Both of those teams are in Toronto, which is the biggest city in the country. And then you have, all the various NHL teams over there. So, the other idea I've heard was Nashville, which I think is on screen right now.
I was going to say, we've got a list of a few cities that are vying for expansion with the MLB. So Nashville is one of them. I could see that. Yeah. Nashville's got a thriving kind of local culture and especially like nightlife going on.
Yeah. Also, it's a good geographic place because after you got Detroit, Chicago, St. Louis, you really have nobody between there and Atlanta. So,
Alex,
you
I think Erica has stopped watching
thank
The
God.
Witcher because
Jesus.
magically you are, because it's almost 10 o'clock and she's ready for bed and you.
And she's not feeling good, and she's like, well, if I still feel bad in the morning, I'm not going to go and work out with Megan and blah, blah, blah. Okay, good.
Did she hear you?
No, good. Let's keep talking. Guy time now.
All right, now you're frozen
so
again.
I
I think you just need to you need to move out of the sticks.
No, I have Comcast. I'm paying Comcast.
Oh, okay. Sorry, Nashville.
Yeah, Nashville. I would support Nashville. They already have the Predators, and they also have the Tennessee Titans of the NFL.
Where do you think their minor league team would be?
The Nashville Sounds.
But aren't they already a minor league team for somebody else?
Yeah.
What do they have to
Nashville
find?
Sounds or the Smokies?
I think that it might be AAA and AA that you're thinking of.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be kind of hard. I don't know how many. Yeah,
Because always it gets weird because then suddenly Southern Illinois would have the Nashville AAA league would be.
I would welcome a team out here. That would be such a great thing. Honestly, Peoria has the Chiefs out there.
Chicagoland has 4 baseball parks. We got the Chicago Dogs, we got the Kane County Cougars, White Sox, and the Cubs. If you like baseball, come on down.
Schaumburg Flyers?
I don't even, what are they, AA?
I don't know. They might be independent or something like that. Cougars are now independent, like an independent thing, because they were one of 4 teams. They were one of 4 teams in the Midwest League that got,
shuttered.
crapped on. Because MLB's like, oh, we have there's too much overhead to have to pay and stuff, but we're going to expand to 32 teams now. Okay. Which then, of course, is going to be like, well, now you have to change up everything with the minor league system.
Well, see, the Nashville team will have the King County Cougars become their AAA affiliate. Nashville, Las Vegas, Charlotte.
I've heard of Charlotte because Charlotte's becoming like a tech hub.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
According to them, I mean, they've already got the Panthers out there, and they've got the Hornets. So
Charlotte makes sense. New Orleans.
They have the Saints, and they got the Pelicans, which used to be the old Charlotte Bobcats, Hornets, whatever the heck they want to be. I don't know. I think they're still trying to promote the city ever since Katrina, but whatever. I don't care.
They have the super they have the Superdome available to them. If you live in New Orleans and you're pissed off, make sure you email contact@culturedoom.com and tell Alex that he's a dummy head.
I mean, make a good argument to disprove my statement.
San Antonio.
They got the Spurs for the NBA, which are, I think, either 3 or 4-time NBA champions with the Ginobili, Parker, and Tim Duncan, David Robinson era.
Ooh. Bitter interstate rivalries with Houston Astros and Texas Rangers.
That could be interesting. That would be too bad. San Antonio is a nice city. It unfortunately kind of gets lost in that whole, Dallas, Houston, Austin.
Oh God,
Austin. Yeah. Jesus. Yeah,
Austin's not a real city anyway.
Austin needs to be nuked from orbit.
Send in the Space Marines. Austin's such a bad city that it ruined. Well, yeah. Austin ruined a relationship with me. For me. Because we visited Austin and she was like, I want to live here. And I was like, you can kill yourself. Apparently she had a problem with that. So
she had a problem, period.
Portland.
No, they have an MLS team out there and it's very soy jacky.
What's MLS? Oh, excuse me.
They're going to be playing in an indoor park anyways there. So
does it rain?
It'd be kind of similar to Seattle.
What's MLS?
Major League Soccer.
That's a thing.
Apparently,
Alex was frozen again. Oh, there he goes again.
Jesus Christ. George Clooney's having a stroke up there. What the shit? Seriously, man.
That's a bandwidth thing. I see it all the time at work because we have to do these webcasts. And then there's somebody, and then it always turns into like, what you could try if you want to. You don't have to. If you turn off your digital background, it might make things smoother.
Oh no, people are gonna see what the background looks like.
They've already seen it.
I know. It's probably a good idea, quite frankly.
That's a good scene for a horror movie. If you're a horror filmmaker and you want to, here's a pitch. We'll get back to MLB in a moment. Horror movie scene.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody is talking to their family member on Skype or Zoom or what have you, and they have the fake background up, and then it's like, oh, your internet's like cutting out. Can you turn it off? And then they're like, oh, okay. And they get up and walk away, and like it kind of flickers, and they see some weird stuff in the background. Then they come back and turn off their digital background, and it's like they murdered like their family. It's like they're like three kids and the wife, and they're like, what's wrong? What's bothering you? And then it's like Ring!
It's kind of like sounds like the Ring video portion.
Sure. I'm just saying.
Okay.
It's good if you want to incorporate it. Just send me a check.
I just hope this will work. I mean, we all love the background meme, but
Portland, get the out.
No.
Mexico City?
No.
Okay.
Mexico is a soccer country. They like their football.
Cuba likes baseball.
Cuba. The Caribbean countries like baseball.
Yeah, Dominican Republic.
The Dominican, Haiti, Cuba, Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico, yeah. Yeah, Puerto Rico. Why is
Mexico? No. Because they keep trying this meme the whole time where they play an NFL game in Mexico City or they play it in London. And then they have... you got to stop.
Stop it. Get some help.
I would be fine with putting an MLB team in Puerto Rico or like Guam or something.
No, not Guam. No, you can't do Guam, dude.
Why not?
It's too far. They're gonna the time thing. They're gonna an MLB
team. Look at how serious Alex is getting.
Are you serious? This is just as dumb as the NFL wanting to make a permanent franchise in London.
Okay,
and
Alex,
the coaches are just like, you're insane.
Did you see the next one on the list?
Just stop.
Okay.
Alex, this is already
on.
like drunken stuff.
Hold on.
Stop it. Get some help.
What I was getting at was that I don't like the idea of MLB being in non-US countries or territories.
Exactly.
So like I'm not a fan of the Blue Jays. Like that should not have ever happened. Like that is a disgrace to American baseball.
It is.
Puerto Rico, fine. Guam,
it's a territory, I guess.
Guam, fine.
Yeah, but Guam's too far.
I understand that, but they're talking about in Tokyo on this list. It's frozen again. So like I'm just making a point. There he goes.
Yeah.
I'm just making a point that if we're talking about Mexico City, obviously the time frame is fine. But if we're talking about Tokyo being a serious question mark in where to put an MLB team, this list can get
oh yeah.
like Mexico, Tokyo, no. Montreal, Oklahoma
maybe.
City.
There's a lot of talk from Montreal.
There's precedent there for for Canadian. I don't agree with it, but whatever.
I don't know what the reasons were behind the first initial move. It might have been like people were just not caring at a certain point. But you also have to take a look and see is like how many years it's been since the team's been there, and is there any natural interest of the residents to go and watch an MLB team play there?
Well, that was the concern. I think that's what happened last time they had the Expos.
Mm-hmm.
The interest wasn't there. Oklahoma City.
They have the Thunder.
Is that a real? Is Oklahoma a real place?
Which is an NBA. It's an NBA team. I don't know. Kansas.
So no. Vancouver. No.
No, it's basically the same thing with Portland, except it's north of Seattle. So,
is that where Linus lives? Does Linus live in Vancouver?
He lives I think eastward of Vancouver, somewhere in the greater Vancouver area.
San Juan,
Puerto Rico. I could see San Juan. I could. Yeah.
Looks nice.
Yeah. There's beaches.
I'd sit on that beach.
Memphis.
Wait, didn't we read?
Nashville.
Oh, okay. I was like, wait, were we just in Tennessee?
Someplace in Tennessee.
Just put it someplace in Tennessee. Jacksonville. Would that be 3 teams?
You'd have the Marlins, the Rays,
and then
Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Although, if you're going to do another team there, you could maybe also make the argument for Orlando. But Orlando might already be a little too oversaturated with just entertainment.
Not after Disney sells the
Seoul
parks
is just as dumb as
to
Tokyo.
China. Yes.
Well, supposedly they want to sell ABC now. So that's what the rumor is. Virginia Beach is terrible. No, skip it.
Virginia Beach?
No. Virginia Beach is a minor league town. It's a minor league town.
Yeah, I'm just like trying to figure out why would ever Buffalo.
Yeah. Buffalo. Yeah, you were going to have an outdoor. They're going to play in an indoor stadium.
This is okay. We're going off the rails here.
Did they put what? Oh, I thought that it was Washington D.C. Sacramento. No, Sacramento's.
Washington.
They have the Kings there. They got an NBA team nobody cares about. Salt Lake City, I could see it. Baseball's very white. I could see it.
Oh, it doesn't have to be very white. Most sports, aside from hockey, are pretty inclusive by default. In soccer, I don't know. Is that what you're thinking of? Are you making faces?
I wasn't thinking about. We were talking about the U.S. sports.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is that baseball? Most American sports are pretty inclusive by the nature of wanting to win. So it's the prime example of capitalism. Like, if you're good, we don't care what else you have to. Like, it doesn't matter who you are. We will cover up all of the dead hookers you've got if you can help us win a pennant. Like,
especially
doesn't matter
the NFL.
if you're white, black, Hispanic, anything, Asian, doesn't matter. Help us win something, and we don't care. You can beat your wife, and we don't care. You can shoot a gun at your wife,
NFL.
and we don't care.
The NFL.
Baseball's the same way. I'm just saying.
I mean, there's been some stuff. Well, what's funny is compared to the other sports,
one of those people,
MLB's,
I'm specifically thinking of a pitcher that helped the Cubs win the World Series. So, like I was describing.
I don't know why I just thought of Zambrano, and Zambrano has been
Chapman.
Oh, yeah. No, I was thinking about like when the NFL had that campaign one time where it's like they had the players like yelling at the people on the screen going like, we got to do better.
Yeah, that was a Bill. It's a Bill Burr
like,
bit.
Alex
is doing a Bill Burr bit, and he just doesn't remember.
I start getting reprimanded like I know a woman that's getting beaten and I'm not saying anything. It's like, wait a minute, I didn't do this. You guys did this. Don't try and turn this around on me.
Speaking of beating your wife, Alex, after that's finished and you've got to get rid of the body somehow,
yes,
may I suggest a water cremation? Now, this goes back to something that we've been discussing for a long time, since before we did videos.
Alternative methods of
body disposal
being gotten rid of?
Yes, being gotten rid of.
We have a lot of Italian gentlemen who are construction company owners that listen to our program.
Write that down.
These guys got a good idea. They got a good idea. I like what they're talking about.
It was good. It was a good Italian-American impression. So I saw this go by on The Wire, and I was thinking, this is right up our alley after...
Oh, of course, it's Euro news.
It's always the UK that's up to no good.
The Euro pours.
What was the last thing we talked about?
You know what's funny about the Europeans is that they are the ones who caused... They were the catalysts for for practically every single major war in the history of mankind. And now they're not defining... They've stopped with like the wars for the most part, but they've found new solutions for eliminating many people of their population.
Well, they're
Did you notice that they're more subversive in their methodology now? Like the assisted suicide pods.
You just reminded me. Oh, come on! I don't want the entire speech.
Nani.
So this is one of our favorites.
Is it the White Sox rant call?
It's our boy Tommy J talking
Tommy
about
J.
Europe. Nations of eternal war. Their energies are expended in the destruction of the labor, property, and lives of their people. So, of course, they have to figure out what to do with their bodies, hence the newfangled water cremation ceremony that the UK is starting to offer.
Did they put one of those on those Viking longboats and send it out to the lake?
So it may not be. So when I think of water cremation, I was picturing they put you in like a glorified water slide that just like puts weights on your feet and sends you into the ocean, and you just kind of sink and become fish food. This is a little bit different, but I'm still okay with it. The UK's biggest funeral care provider has announced that it will start offering water cremation, also known as resumation.
Yeah.
How did you know that pronunciation?
I went to private school. I learned phonetically how to read things.
Do you know what resumation means? Okay, so
No.
resumation was a perfectly fine. We'll talk about this after the show.
Cremation.
Resumation.
Resumation.
What exactly is
cremation
is it, and what is the impact on the environment? I don't care about that.
Oh, we gotta save the environment again.
Even in death, humans can't get away from their responsibility.
You know what I can't stand about that stuff? You know what I get tired about? Let me tell you.
I gotta get like a still that I can, or like a GIF that I can put up for me while you go ranting, where I'm just like this, so I can go up to go to the bathroom, get another beer.
You're like Homer in the jury box where he has the glasses, the eyes, and he's sleeping.
Excuse me, Your Honor. Yes, I'd like to bring something to the court's attention.
What? Give those glasses to the bailiff.
All right.
And those.
Oh.
The UK will offer water cremation for the first time this year, following rising demand for more environmentally friendly end-of-life options. Environmentally friendly, again.
What is this rising call? Is it going from like 2 people to like 4 people a year? Is that what you're basing
they got
it
like
on? I'm
Alex,
guessing maybe it's metric.
The change.org campaign got like 1,000 signatures, so kind of a big deal. When you die, there's currently only...
In Stoke-upon-Trent.
When you die, there's currently only 2... no, sorry, I'm just looking at the delay, and I'm already in my head thinking editing this is going to be difficult, because...
I'm sorry.
Because I can't... I have to wait to reply to you until the video starts talking, because otherwise I'm talking on top of you. See? It's like... Fuck.
Should we?
No, it'll be fine. I'll take care of it. New option. Currently, there's only 2 options to die when you die in most of Europe: burial or traditional fire cremation. But a new option is being explored. A new fighter has.
German invasion?
It's too easy to make fun of the Germans.
It's too easy to make fun of anybody in Europe.
Water cremation, also known as aquamation. We got 3 names for this: water cremation, aquamation, and resumation.
Aquamation. And alkaline hydrolysis.
God, I tried to cover it up. I tried to cover it up with my hand.
Sorry.
I'm like, stop. The body is placed. Water cremation Resumation in alkaline hydrolysis uses water to bring the body back to skeletal remains. The body is placed in a steel vessel filled with water and an alkaline solution. It is then heated up, which takes the flesh back to its chemical components, amino acids, peptides, sugars, and salts. Yummy. Those are my favorite ingredients on any meal.
That's a secret.
About
to
3
Snickers
hours,
bars.
3 to 4 hours. After about 3 to 4 hours, only the bones remain. They are then ground down to a white powder, placed in an urn, and given to the family. In principle, sounds fine.
You know what it kind of sounds like to me is it's almost like they're what is it? Water blasting your body in a sense, or what is it? Power washing your body. Where they're getting rid of like all the like non calcify, like not basically your cells, like your skin, muscle, things like that, organs apart from the bones themselves and stuff. Almost, but the way it's kind of like it's dissolving.
Yeah, I mean it dissolves everything
body.
besides your bone,
In a
and
weird
then
way.
I think that throwing your bones into a blender and handing it back and being like, "There you go."
Just a bones.
I think that.
Sorry.
I mean, this seems more complicated than my seaside plan.
It's overtly
Yes.
convoluted for what you end up getting as a end result. Where like I'm pretty sure like when you get cremated, like all of the carbon, like your entire body is that. This is just like, it's almost like they're just like skinning you, cutting all the the fleshy parts off, and just being like, here's the bones ground down. It's like, oh, where's the rest of them?
Where's the rest of what I paid for?
In the ether.
Yeah, I mean, I like.
It's like a transporter. It's a transporter.
All I
thing
care
gone
about
wrong.
is that we're not taking up space with graves. It just seems like such a waste of land. I do think that this will cost more than my giant fan idea. So that's what makes me apprehensive about it, is that I'm not just concerned about saving land. I'm also concerned about saving grieving families money over things that are legitimately and seriously designed to be put into the ground and effectively thrown away. Where it's like, please spend $5,000 on this thing so that I can put it in the ground and you'll never deal with it again. It's like, it's kind of weird. If you've listened to this show, you've heard my feelings on this a million times. But
yeah, we had an interesting conversation this past weekend where Erica just randomly out of the blue asked me how I would want to be buried.
apparently she doesn't listen to this show.
Did you get the statement from Washington Mutual and it looked all good and nice?
Are you going to check and see if there's been any
weird rando thing.
life insurance policies taken out in your name?
Well, this is what the conversation you end up having with your spouse of almost a decade when you hit the age of 40.
Really rubbing it in.
I know. So, have you noticed what type of clothing detergent do you use when you wash your clothes?
Are you asking for a brand? Typically there's two answers to this. One is Target brand. The other answer is whatever's cheapest. And to expand further, unscented.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So when you get those, do you get liquid or powder?
Liquid.
Ah, see. Is there a powder version of those?
I couldn't even tell you if it exists.
Okay, so here's my thing. I was at Walmart this past week, and we went to go and try to find more laundry detergent because we're like, okay, we're running low on Tide, and we always get Tide. So when we went to the aisle, couldn't find anything powdered. Nothing. Like there was Tide, and it came in a tiny box. We usually get the bigger box. But if you wanted pods or you wanted liquid, you could find all you want. So we're like, we need to use powder because when we had purchased our laundry machine or our washer, they were saying like, these things tend to high efficiency. They have like high efficiency powder, and powder from their experience from the place that we bought it from tends to be better quality in terms of breaking down, the soap instead of like a liquidy gel soapy stuff. And we were fine. And then all of a sudden we're like, we need Tide. We can't find Tide, They didn't even have a sticker for it on the place for the bigger box. So we ended up having to go and get Gain because they had tons of Gain powder. But then it was like nobody else had the liquid, which was very, very suspicious. And then I went to Dollar General earlier this week going like, let me take a look and see what they have here. And the only powder that they had in there was Gain also. So I find it very odd that for some reason the powder is non-existent or is being at least phased out. And I went on forums earlier
Oh my God,
today,
Alex, you are a crazy.
both Quora and Reddit.
You're actually a
and
crazy
a bunch of
person.
other ones. And I was trying
You are actually a crazy person.
I went onto the forums earlier today and I noticed that they were discussing a similar thing where people were saying that we noticed that there's less and less options for you to purchase the powder version. And it might be based upon your regional location and also what particular store you shop at and stuff. But it seems like the pods and the liquid are the ones that tend to be promoted or sold more and stuff like that.
2 answers to this. First, whatever Walmart that you are shopping at is stocking what sells. And so,
but that's a lot of like,
Alex, I'm just telling you that
like
in every single Walmart around me has Tide detergent available for curbside pickup today. I could order it in the next.
Well, it's like 10:30, dude.
Open until 11. These are all of these.
Wait, that's at Walmart Supercenter, and they're only open until 11.
Well, these are.
Oh,
Chicago's different, right?
no.
Palatine, Hammond, Skokie.
We could take a road trip out.
So I'm
to
just
Hammond
saying,
and go
this
casino.
Tide powder laundry detergent, 113 loads for $20, which is actually $2 more expensive than if you bought it on Amazon and had free delivery. So it's just.
I'm just letting you know, bro, what I saw with my
Alex,
own 2 eyes.
I like
in
how
that
that
particular aisle.
you have developed conspiracy theories over your boomer mentalities being phased out because nobody else cares about it but you. So you're like,
It's like when Pepperidge Farm no longer sold the apple and raisin stuffing.
Why
for
is the
holidays.
government taking our antennas? Give me back my antenna or give me death. Why is the government stealing my Tide detergent? I haven't seen anyone
why
use.
is the government taking away 30% of my paycheck under the guise of taxes?
Taxation is theft, right, man?
Taxation is still theft, even with representation.
Stealing from people with guns is armed robbery, unless you're the government.
Yes. The police and the military will only join those who pay their pockets.
Alex, I can't help you.
But I'm just saying, like I said, I couldn't find any at the Super
The main
Walmart.
point is that I'm mad that I
saying.
couldn't buy
That's
my
story.
But I've heard my high efficiency cleaners use the liquid detergent.
The powder, they also have like a powder,
understand.
like
Is it
all the
cheaper?
powders now are high
Is
efficiency.
it cheaper to get powder? I would imagine.
I feel like supposedly you can get more loads out of the powder than the liquid
As many
ones.
loads as you can get, right? Well, okay. My follow up to this is: what about dishwasher? Do you use liquid or do you use powder in the dishwasher?
We have pods.
Ugh. How embarrassing!
I know. We went to Sam's Club and we had to buy something. And we're like, oh, let's try the pods. But you've seen our dishwasher, dude. That thing is like from like 1990. Like it's just. We need a new one.
I'm a fan of this YouTube channel called Technology Connections. I don't know if you're familiar with it. but he has a whole
Yes.
he has a whole
About the dishwasher. Yeah.
he has a whole episode
about the pods.
about the dishwasher pack. So I stopped using this just because they seemed more expensive than buying the fluid. The only time I can remember seeing powder for a dishwasher was at a certain like fancier hotel that had a dishwasher in it, and it was like the included free dishwasher where you could do your own dishes, and that was the only time that I remember seeing powdered dishwasher detergent. So
Like what do we use? Cascade. We have Cascade in a box. We
look
got
at
powder in the
Moneybags
garage, and
over
nobody else has
here.
the pods.
Moneybags over here buying name brand Tide Cascade.
It's because my
Wow.
wife comes from a family that's very big on using brand name products.
money.
Well,
Money. Target brand is usually my go-to, just because, especially anything non-food, if I don't have to taste it, as long as it works, I'm fine with the knockoffs. Aside from toilet paper, Charmin for life, baby.
oh, I go Angel Soft.
Cottonelle. Oh, okay, Angel
I
Soft.
pretend that it's actually made from real babies.
You could never.
That's the Europeans' new thing.
What
They're like all the stillborn. We're gonna turn them into toilet paper.
Oh God! All right, never mind. I was gonna make a uncouth joke, but you topped mine. I like the trend that you've developed for your conspiracy theories. So I look forward to the next one.
Yeah, it's mostly just household appliances, consumer products.
Well, you do spend 99% of your life at your house, so I could see you looking around.
I'm trying
being
to get those
"Wait a
numbers up."
second." Let's talk about annoying adults.
Oh gosh.
Or, well, I guess it depends on what position you take on this conversation. So this was a debate that arose on TikTok, of all places, our favorite social media, run by the
We're continuing to talk about Zoomies.
Chi-Coms, I think. It's the
The check-ons.
the social media of choice. Although, really quick before we get into TikTok, I thought it was hilarious on the last, on a certain other video podcast, the host was all impressed by Threads and saying how Threads is really going to take Twitter's cake and run with it and just completely
Does this person wear socks
completely
with their
topple
sandals?
Threads or completely topple Twitter. And I was watching it being like, are you kidding me? I don't think you realize how lazy the vast majority of users on the internet are. A very good example of that is,
Switching from one platform
well,
to
and
another.
like, look at YouTube. It's very easy to watch a video on YouTube. Asking somebody to hit like or subscribe or leave a comment, you might as well be asking them to carry like 500 pounds across a parking lot. It's that any engagement is gold. So whether it's a like or a dislike, if you would get someone provoked enough to say one or the other, it's like YouTube's like, put them out, let everyone see that somebody said something about them. And what happened with Threads was, it was big in the 24 hours that it launched, and then it went off a fucking cliff.
It was like a day one release for a game on Steam where you see that peak users, and then it's like, it goes from like 270,000, and it's like down to like 7,000.
And maybe it'll recover as they add
Yeah.
more features, but
Well, I think the
I
problem
doubt it.
also. Here's my thing with it. It's like a lot of people who just got totally turned off of Facebook over the past how many years and don't want anything to do with Facebook and stuff like that. Now all of a sudden you're having them to create really a Facebook account because it's all part of Meta, and Meta controls, Facebook and Threads and Instagram and such. Do you really want to go back into that whole ecosystem all over again when you probably left everybody left MySpace. People went to Facebook then, and then a lot of people ended up going to Twitter afterwards. So, I don't think that they're going to go. But like you were saying with YouTube, you can watch a video on YouTube because it's just so prevalent and it's been there for such a long time. But then you also have BitChute and Rumble and Odyssey and all the other YouTube wannabes and stuff. But the problem is like getting people to go to that is very difficult because it's you're trying to mass migrate so many individuals to use something that might be better in a lot of ways, but people are just safe with what they've been using.
I would argue that Google Plus was better than Facebook in every way, but it was too hard to get people to use. Like Google Circles was a brilliant idea at the time of controlling what posts go to what groups of people that you are friends with. And so it'd be like, here's your coworkers, and you would, when you post something, it would be like share with, you check mark all, or coworkers or friends or family, and so you could share stuff and curate your own content. Anyway, the point is that TikTok is a thing where people post stuff that will occasionally get them into trouble, like all of social media. One of the more recent events that has led to controversy is this woman's post about being on an airplane and being asked to give up her seat. So the main post is this TikTok video where it's just her sitting there looking at the camera as TikTokers
I hate
do.
that
I
shit
do
so
too.
much, dude.
But here's the premise.
There's a seat right outside this door at 27,000 feet.
Here's-
you can happily take over.
Here's the premise of the conversation. Okay, What would you do? I got on the plane and a woman was sitting in my seat, and when I mentioned it to her, she said, "Oh, you want to sit here? I thought we could switch because these are my kids." She points to the 2 seats next to mine. I said, "As long as it's a window seat, I'm happy to switch." She points to the row behind us and says, "Mine is right there, center seat." A little bit more context. I did not agree to switch seats. The kids were between 11 and 15 years old. The mom proceeded to complain for at least 15 minutes to the person next to her. The woman actually defended me several times. I was so kind and I appreciated it because I was feeling really guilty. Since this, more details have been added. The reason she wanted the window seat is because she gets motion sick. If she can't see, there's no like reference point for takeoff and landing. So she wants to look out the window. So
she's the opposite of Erica. Because Erica doesn't want she doesn't want the window seat.
Oh, because it makes her motion sick?
She got motion sick on Small World. And I always bring that up.
Yeah, but like that's interesting.
Because she sees.
But how does she do on But how does she do on a plane? She's bad, or you can't shake your head. Use your words.
She has to be either on an aisle or like in the middle seat. She doesn't want the window seat, or it's
the window throws her off.
Yeah, because that's why whenever we go some places, she always wants to drive, because when she's driving,
yeah, she controls. She can conceptualize the movement before it happens. Basically.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay. So
I guess this chick does.
She wants a reference point for when you, because I understand if you're in an airplane and you take off and you have no idea of what's going on outside, then it could be jarring. Mm-hmm. The bigger issue here is this woman for giving up her seat or not giving up her seat to this other mother?
I can understand. Okay. Maybe if you want to sit with the 11-year-old, I can understand with that. The 15-year-old. I mean,
they're next to each other, though. The 11 and the 15-year-old.
I would switch the seats with the 15-year-old and sit next to the 11-year-old,
and put the 15-year-old in the middle seat.
Yeah, they'll be fine.
The point being, and I think we actually agree about this, and I was hoping we would, but you're a parent, so sometimes parents have crazy ideas. The woman was under no obligation to give up her seat to some random person just because of her kids. If they agree to it, whatever the ages are, it's it's a generosity that they're extending, but there is no cultural shame, in my opinion, to say, especially in a middle seat, like
I think also in the
get GTFO.
I'm pretty sure like in like a post 9/11 universe now, well, which is just a universe now. I think there's like a serious no in terms of like switching seats and stuff, and also whenever you
can still request
your
switch seats.
I guess you could, but I think like when you pick out your seats in a plane, unless you're the kind of person who's like, oh, just give me whatever seat, it's like that's a dumb way to go about it. When you're booking your seats, you can choose which seats you want. So this mom with the kids, didn't fucking do her due diligence in terms of like
so I just flew. Okay, so Southwest, you just are part of a boarding group.
Mm-hmm.
With United, I had to check in 24 hours beforehand, and that's when I picked my seat. And it does turn into very quickly, like, because of work, I had a little bit of a preference that I could pick certain seats that were more desirable.
Did you fly coach?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. I've never flown anything besides coach. Maybe that's why I hate flying so much. But I had a window seat both times. Because I know that I'm not going to get up to go to the bathroom on a 3-hour flight. I am locked down. Even an 8-hour flight, it's going to have to be a real emergency to get me to go to the bathroom, because I don't want the toilet to suck my penis off. I know it's possible.
It doesn't suck your penis off, dude.
I've heard stories.
What airline were you flying where it sucked off your dick?
Dick sucker airlines.
Dick sucker airlines.
So what? Delta.
Delta.
So
yeah, honestly, I feel like it would be Delta of all of them.
So it's the same situation. It's sort of like if it had been me, and it had been 2 4-year-olds, or like a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old, or whatever, a toddler, I may have bitten the bullet and been on that middle seat, even though the middle seat is the worst. It just is.
It is.
But in that situation with a young mother with 2 young kids, I may have gone along with that and said yes. But I'm also the guy, I've told this story before, I'm also the guy who stood in line for 2001 for 2 hours to get the seat that I wanted, and sat in a seat, and then there was like an empty seat, and they tried to get me to move in one seat so that there would be 2 together, so that him and his girlfriend could sit together. And this was like 15 minutes before the freaking movie started, and I'd been in my seat for an hour and a half by the time they came over, and I was like, no, I'm sorry, but I got this seat an hour and a half early because this is the seat I wanted. And they were like, oh. I'm like, get f***ed, frankly.
Yeah.
So
I mean, they probably will go and do that afterwards.
I jerked off afterwards. This
during the film.
Well, I mean, the opening.
Well, it was 2001. So.
The opening prelude or overture is in a completely pitch black theater, so you can get one off. I can only go like 2 hours without getting. But yeah, like with this woman, it's like it's not her problem. And she was saying that she had only had like an hour and a half of sleep, and she had to give a presentation. And she wanted to sleep on the flight. Like, yeah, there's mitigating circumstances for people when they're getting, especially a flight, a business flight. Dude, all bets are off there.
Where did she say where they were flying to? Like where to where? If she wanted to sleep, I mean, you could sleep on like a 3-hour flight, 2-hour flight, and stuff.
Flight from Cincinnati to San Jose, so that's not a short flight.
Yeah, you could sleep on that. Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying, is that if she wants to get some sleep on that flight, then it's not her problem that you don't have the seat.
Flight or something?
Also, again, 11-year-old and 15-year-old sitting next to each other, they're fine.
Yeah.
So, you're not in the wrong, woman flying to San Jose. Speaking of flying to San Jose, Alex,
Yeah.
you have a couple of games you want to talk about, or at least one game you want to talk about. I don't know how you're feeling right now.
Yeah, anyways, so quick reviews, kind of this discussion about and stuff like that. So I've played a recent new indie popular game called Dave the Diver.
Well, we
both I got you that too. Dave the Diver, it's a game that takes place in Southeast Asia, and you play Dave, who does some deep sea diving, in which he is gets hired by a sushi restaurant called Banco. Yeah, Dave. So it's a cool pixelated game, and you basically dive. You capture fish for the sushi restaurant that you are working, and I think you end up owning or something.
Spoilers.
It's just a general description of what you do.
You're saying you think you end up owning?
I don't know. I've heard supposed you get owned, but
go on.
I haven't gotten to any of this stuff that you're showing.
I like how
right now.
this is the trailer.
That's going to be awesome. I mean, it's a fantastic game. You use different types of items and tools and weapons to try to survive the ocean depths. And there's different enemies and bosses you have to fight. And then at the end of the day, all the fish that you've collected, you end up utilizing in your sushi restaurant. And there's like mini games, as you can see here, where you have to take the food, you have to set up the menu, set up if you want to enhance the items and such like that.
Well, Alex, did you see this part of the trailer?
I wish I was that guy. He's the guy. He's like the weapons dude.
You know what? The pillow doesn't use your bandwidth. Okay.
I know.
You're frozen again.
Oh, God. Okay, I'm back to normal. But it's a very fun game. It's like $12 or something on Steam or something. It's really not.
I think it's
expensive at all.
$20. It was $12 on sale, I think.
Oh, during sale. Okay, well, anyways, it's worth the amount of money that it is. And it's actually produced by, I don't know if a lot of the stuff is going to be, I don't know. Anyways, the game itself is pretty fun. It's made by a Korean developer, and they've already done some fixing, some patching and stuff like that. It's a fantastic game, and it shows that a lot of these smaller indie game titles in the past several years have gotten really, really popular and really do a great job in terms of, making sales, making people entertained and such. And that's what I like about this. It's a nice looking game. It's got this pixel look to it. And then on the flip side, you have something such as I'd been trudging along because I finally got on sale, which was Red Dead Redemption 2. And I'm very tired of playing the whipping boy for the in this game, in terms of everybody needs me to go and do something for them. I have to go and get the whiskey. I have to rescue this. I have to go and pick up money that we loaned up to people. It's like the Vanderland gang is just like, they can't do anything on their own without old Arthur Morgan, because he has to do everyone, springing people from jail and things. And it's
Alex, you know what I'm going to say? I've played Dave the Diver for 2 hours.
Yes.
I would say that Dave the Diver has a lot of fetch quests where it's like, please, can you go into the ocean and grab this thing and look for this and get me this instead? And this woman wants to try this other kind of sushi. Can you find the shark? And I was just like, is this what this game is? And clearly it's not, based on that trailer, that there's a lot other things that coming up. But
in the beginning, there is.
Just to go back to Dave, Alex has played 6 hours of this game. I played 1 or 2. In the first 2 hours, to me, it's well, you called it comfy. I disagree with that, just because I find it stressful. It's not that
having to collect the starfish.
No, having to do the rest, the mama-san part of like serving all of the food, I find stressful. Where it's like, remember that beer game where you had to like catch
Fill
the
the
beer
beer
and then catch it? Yeah, like so it reminds me of that. I'm like, this is not like chill. This is stressful and requires thinking. I can't get too drunk while I'm playing this game and be able to like pull it off. I judge all games by how drunk I can get while I'm playing them.
Well, with I feel like with Red Dead, you get very drunk and just kind of meander about in the wilderness and not get anywhere in terms of storyline itself.
I'm not saying Red Dead,
which
2
is
a
funny
good
because,
game.
well, I like the storyline of the first Red Dead game. This one, it just seems we have this big gang of like 24 people of outlaws, and we have to keep moving our special hidden campsite every so often because something occurs where we get found out and we get driven out of town. And it just kind of feels like, to me, it just felt like it was like the storyline itself was really, quite frankly, irrelevant because I feel like I'm playing anybody who complained about the Star Wars prequels being like, well, we already know what the end story is. It's like, it's the same exact thing for this. We know what the end result is. And I'm just trudging along until I get to a point where like the story ends.
Well,
and then John Marston's story.
I mean,
take place at that point.
That's part of why I have, even though Red Dead 1 is one of my favorite games ever, I have felt no compulsion to play the sequel or the prequel because they put themselves into a corner. They set Red Dead 1 too late in the century, and by killing off the extremely charismatic main character, they had to like figure out a way to bring him back in the second game, in Red Dead 2, which is actually Red Dead 0. You know, where it's sort of like, okay, I would have, and I think we've talked about this, I would have preferred them to just continue with Jack Marston and try to really ride that line between the turn of the century and all of the changes and like World War I and all of the things that were happening. If they're going to stick with it, or just say, fuck it, we're going to do a Wild Wild West game and we don't care what year this takes place in. It's Jack Marston, he's a cowboy or whatever. Or just do like the last year that you saw when he was an adult. You know, like there were ways to handle it. Was not interested in how they approached it.
Yeah. And I feel like to that point, since this was a prequel, it's like they really can't honestly do a Red Dead 3 because are you going to go like an additional 15 years prior to Red Dead 2?
No.
Because the problem then is like, well, if somebody's going to complain, it's like, well, they don't have any, semi-automatic pistols and stuff like that. It's like,
Alex, Red Dead 3 will be finally picking up with Jack Marston. So when did Red Dead 1?
He's in World War I in the trenches in like Verdun.
No, he could be like still in Texas doing his thing. Like you can do it. You don't have to push it ahead that much further, but it's like if you want to continue,
it's going to be difficult for them to do.
If you want to continue the Marston storyline, that there's a way to do it. I'm just saying. I thought it was lazy the way that they handled it for that, and I was not. As soon as I saw what it was, I immediately was like, "Oh man, come on, that's not what I was. That's not what I was about." But going back to all right, Alex wants to complain about Red Dead. Continue.
No. I was making this joke to like you and some other people where it's like I think it's a fantastic hunting and fishing simulator set in the 1890s, and outside of that, like I feel like the storyline, like some of the dialogue and the like story, like events where it's like you're taking. Honestly, the problem is like it's in the 1890s and you're trying to extract certain types of opinions and views and stories from current year back to the 1890s. And it's very, very odd and like it takes you out of the whole environment and such where it's like I don't care what Arthur Morgan's opinion is on women's suffrage back in the 1890s, when he's just murdering and killing people left and right. All of a sudden he's like, well, I think women should blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, dude, you just like blew up a stagecoach with like dynamite, which had like a female passenger. It's just like, it just, when the original movie, which takes place in like 1911 or something, 1910,
the original game
didn't have anything to do with that stuff.
Okay, so what I was going to say is that the old guard at Rockstar would have had a scene where they're like, we're here for women, we're pro women's suffrage, and Arthur would have been like, well, I don't want any women to suffer, I'm not agreeing with you at all, and walk away from that and like make a joke like the man show did, like, we're here because we're pro women's suffrage. I can't believe you guys are women and you still want women to suffer. I don't approve of that at all. I respect women, and walk away from it. And then I'd be like, what? Play it for a laugh, but instead they want to make a point. So
to this point, there's an actual mission where you have to drive a wagon of suffragettes through town to this place where they're going to go and protest with their signs.
Dave the Diver is a very interesting game that we played this week.
I know, David Diver.
That I've played. That came out in June and not 10 years ago.
10 years ago. But it shows also, like you were saying, the old guard at Rockstar is gone, and
they used to like being edgy boy is not fashionable anymore. So they're trying to make some money. But Dave the Diver,
I
yes. think that you have a lot more experience in it than I have. I've been trying to play it. I played it last night specifically to try to like get some more time in it. I can tell that there's things happening that are going to become, and I've never seen the trailer before, so then they kind of probably spoiled some stuff for me. But I saw like, as far as I got was the sea people stuff, where there's a little bit of
the tablet in the cavern thing.
Nope, not that. Not that far. I got like the big eye looking at me. Okay. So it's like there's stuff going on. I find it very endearing. My biggest complaint is that people, you and a coworker of mine, were both like super comfy, super casual. And this is somebody who I complained that I thought Stardew Valley was stressful, and I did not understand how anyone could call it like comfy. Because it's like I'm literally, I can't go back and play it because I'm going to lose my farm. Like I'm stressed out about my finances in that game. It's like that's not. I don't find this fun to have to. If I'm doing something I should get paid to do, I don't find it relaxing. It's not even like Fallout where I'm like saving people, So that's the thing with Dave the Diver is sort of when I'm trying to serve customers in the sushi tea thing. So I have a question: do you play with a controller or do you play with a mouse?
Mouse.
Okay. See, and I switched to a controller because I thought that it was supposed to what you were supposed to play it with. But pouring the tea with the Xbox, like my little Xbox controller, no. This is terrible. Yeah, you've got the wired one. Yeah. So.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I'll run this one to the ground, and then when it's time to get a new one, I'll just get whatever is the new Xbox one because
it's the best controller ever.
My hands hurt trying to use a PS2.
No, it's because you got to do like this move where you're like those thumb. This was the best thing that ever happened to first person control on a console. The offset and then like all of it. It was just so good. The original Xbox controller. So
the Duke?
Well, the big one was fine, if a little big for little baby Japanese hands, which I have been cursed with. So little baby hands.
Okay. It's okay.
I don't know why you're like I don't know why your feed is up tonight. Anyway, so I guess we're gonna give like a preliminary review for Dave the Diver.
Yeah, I've been enjoying it so far. So I won't necessarily give it like a pot of gold thing because some of the stuff in that trailer
you're not going to give a pot of gold.
I kind of feel like it's a little too early to tell.
You have 6 hours in the game.
Yeah.
can't-
I'll give it 2.5 so far. Yeah.
2.5? 2.5 was enough for you to be like, I'm going to buy this for you, play it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It just looked to me like
God.
something you might possibly enjoy, especially the sushi part, where you get to run your sushi restaurant. You get to
and
the
the
decorations and all
And
that stuff.
and me running the sushi restaurant,
your
I'm
menu.
just like, I'm getting so much anxiety over this.
I have Phoenix Wright on Steam, and then I also have Cooking Mama on my Nintendo DS. So, and I played a ungodly amount of Harvest Moon 64.
Oh, okay.
So I'm kind of
Skewed.
towards games like that and
Okay.
stuff like that. Which also at the same time, on the flip side, I enjoyed Red Dead 1 a lot, and I enjoy open world games a lot too, but Red Dead 2 just was not clicking for me and stuff.
That's what I've heard about Red Dead 2, so I'm not surprised. Infamous Liz, also played Red Dead 2 and was definitely not as compelled as the original Red Dead.
And I what's funny about it too is that I feel like Red Dead compared to GTA nowadays is more story driven of a game instead of the online focus that that Rockstar really wants to push towards, because compared to GTA 5, they really could not monetize Red Dead Online as much as they have.
Right.
Because they're kind of boxed in with the setting and the time frame and what can possibly be done. You can't have a garage of all these fancy exotic horses and things like that like you can this one, and clothing and stuff like that, which then makes me now think that Rockstar is going to push heavily on the online aspect of GTA 6. And from that leak we saw so far, I could definitely tell that it's going to be the case for that. Even though it was a leak and they're like, oh, it's not a blah, blah, blah. It's like, So yeah, Starfield, guys.
Alex, on that note, I think it's about time we wrap up episode 418 of CultureDoom.
Okay, thank you very much once again to listening to us, watching us, enjoying hopefully what we have to say for episode 418. I apologize for my glitchiness and lag. It was like playing an actual match of Modern Warfare 2 before they patched the that rocket launcher. What was that rocket launcher? The Javelin launcher. Remember that?
Yeah, the Javelin. Mm-hmm.
The Javelin glitch. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Good times. Video games used to be good.
The kids will never know what
They'll never know.
what good gameplay was.
No, before they patched it.
And even like good griefing was.
Yeah, where it was like, I respected where like I can grief back in the same way, and it's all good. GG's all around. Anyways, on behalf of Brendan, this is Alex saying double bye, Until next time.